Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another No Gi Required podcast. Always with me, I have my right arm, left arm, Jay Zibalos. My big friend, also his brother, Mike Zibalos. I mean, those two guys make possible for us to have the podcast. It's interesting today because I was always trying to get all my brothers into the podcast. We did a lot of back in a few months ago live on Instagram, which turned out to be something a lot bigger than we expected. And I have here one of my brothers, Higan, that came by a few months ago. Now I have one of the brothers that I can't believe I'm going to make him talk. He's the second oldest brother in the family, Roger Machado. Welcome,
Yes.
Roger.
Oh, welcome.
Oh,
Thank you, guys.
man.
Glad to be here.
Oh, Roger, no, I like him and I hate him at the same time growing up. Roger is the second oldest, as people, I just want to remind them, Carlos, Roger, Higan, myself, and John. That's the order of age. And Roger, oh, I can't believe it. He's here sitting next to me on the podcast. Roger, I want to start let's go back to some time here. Do you remember your first experience starting training jiu-jitsu? When was that? Remember that? A few years ago, right?
A long time, man.
Remember how old you were or your first instructor? Because I don't. I try to go back. It's like, I don't, unless Mama tell us, I try to remember too. But do you remember? He can remember himself, but I don't know.
My memory doesn't go that far.
Because people don't know, but I remember my mother mentioned that she used to take us to have private classes with as a kid with Horion Gracie.
Really?
And we're very young and little kids. I don't remember that, but she said that. But do you remember? And Roger has an interest case because growing up in our house, my mom pushed us to martial arts because our relation that her sister was married to Carlos Gracie Sr. And we got involved in jiu-jitsu in the early days of our lives. And from our dad's side, very intellectual. He wanted us to go to school and do all of this. And one great thing is Roger had was he did something called student exchange. He lived in America, I don't know, in the 80s? When was that, Roger?
I was, when I was 17, from 17 to 18.
17, he came and he was living in Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay, talk about a culture shock.
Man, and that's the crazy thing. And he learned to speak English.
Yeah.
That was the whole purpose, to live in America, and you have no choice. And he studied a lot. And how was that experience for you, Roger? You remember that?
Yeah. I remember. I loved it because I think it was my first big trick that I was away from the brothers, the family, and even jiu-jitsu. I couldn't do jiu-jitsu for a year, but I did some wrestling. So
that's
my,
what I want to get into the point. You see,
I know, but
he came back to Brazil with some tricks. Like, hey, wait a minute, what the heck is that?
But when you were there, did you do did you share with the host family a little bit about jiu-jitsu or?
Yes, a little bit. Some of them, I think I stayed throughout the year. I stayed with, for 6 months with one family, 3 months with the other two families each. And some of my siblings on each house, they were not much into sports. But at the school, I did high school. I did part of a senior year and part of a junior year before. I had the opportunity, practice wrestling for a few months. And then I had the opportunity to share, with some teammates, jiu-jitsu. They had no idea what I was doing, and I was actually able to use on the wrestling practice, yeah.
That's cool. A secret weapon.
And the cool thing, man, we all get mad at him on that. And I'm not going to hide that from him. He came home and shows a picture of him with all the uniform of football of the Wisconsin high school, I guess. And they kind of want to provide him a scholarship for him to be the kicker. And he said, no, I don't want. And he went back.
Really?
Yeah. He was the kicker because of the soccer experience we have in Brazil. He turned out to kick the ball pretty damn good.
His heart wasn't in it for it.
No, yeah, I tried to play tackle defense, but I didn't enjoy it much. I felt some headaches, with the clashes with some other big guys. So, but the kicking was much easier for me. I felt more at home. Yeah.
And I'm just making Roger here relax a little bit. Everyone that comes here feels a little tight. Let's go back to Brazil, Roger.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you got your blue belt? Remember when was that? Because I know it's hard sometimes. People don't realize we've been doing jiu-jitsu for quite some time. And going back to the memory line, sometimes it takes time to remember those.
I'll be honest, man. I think when I was a blue belt, I remember De La Riva was a blue belt too at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's the group of guys we
Yeah.
have. It's all that time. We were
Yeah.
talking about early 80s.
How long were you a white belt? Because I know Jean-Jacques has said you were a white belt for like 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Do you remember how long you were at white?
I think it was not too around the same. Yeah.
And Roger, how was it for you growing up with 4 brothers, all very energetic and all involved in jiu-jitsu and always in a good sense of bullying each other? How was that for you?
Yeah, I think growing up with 4 jiu-jitsu brothers, never a dull moment.
I bet.
No privacy ever in your life. You had to sleep with one eye open, the other one closed, because somebody was going to try to choke you, when you sleep, when you get you off guard. But I loved it, man. I really, a lot of times I miss, all the craziness, full house, the brothers always picking and fighting and playing with each other. Yes, I loved it.
And we have the mats in our bedroom, and it was a fun story, man, because I gotta share that with you guys. In a good way, we always have some kind of a altercation with the youngest brother. And you just picture this. We are all 4 on the same bedroom. And was on one side of the bed, and I was in the middle with Higan. They have the one side of the room was John, the other side Roger. Then on the 2 beds in the middle, me and Higan, and we watching a TV. Then, this is the fun part. I want you guys to understand that was every day in our house. Roger get up from the bed, he would sit on the right side, and he turned the TV towards him. Then my brother John on the other side goes like, man, and back those days, the TV image was already bad enough. And he said, man, I can't see the TV. And John get up and turn the TV back, but then he goes an inch towards his side. Then Roger get up on the other side, and he start measure with his hands and fingers. Then you go like, man, the TV is more from your side. Then John start doing the same thing, and suddenly they start arguing with each other. Then my dad comes into the room, unplug the TV from the wall, take the TV out of the room, and me and Higan looked at each other like, what the heck is going on here? Those guys, but those are the simple things that we grew up with each other. Thanks to jiu-jitsu, never turned out to be a fist fight in a way. Somehow we have our respect to the older brothers. They used to scream, and Roger, not my Roger used to hit us hard. We have to run. We have to run
Come
from
on,
him.
brother. Come on. I wasn't the mean brother.
He wasn't he was the quiet one, but don't mess with him. He will hit you hard. It's like we know.
Well, what I've always admired, like even before I joined here, I would see the magazine articles, and it was always all of the brothers. You were always the one with the smile on your face.
I know. And my
Always.
brothers would get mad at me. I never enjoyed taking all serious and like looking like mean and like and then I would smile. Why are you smiling? We gotta look serious, I don't know. I like to smile.
Yeah, and they see we never grew up. When we get together, we're still kids, and then I think it's such an amazing thing. Roger, let me ask you this, Roger. What does jiu-jitsu represents to you? What jiu-jitsu changed in you or made or got inside of you? What is that? Why do you like jiu-jitsu so much?
I love because there's so much that jiu-jitsu offer to to someone, in all aspects of life, and on my case, on my experience, as you said, as a younger brother, in my early days, I was very more serious. I was like a little bit more short-tempered. Like if a little brother would bother me, sometimes I would.
Now you guys know what I mean, right? Just a little bit short temper.
Just a little bit. My slap on the back would be a little bit stronger than it should be. I apologize, brother. But
it's too late. It's 30 years late.
I know it's never late. Right? Say I'm sorry. But I think jiu-jitsu, on my case, made me a much better person, and it still makes, I still grow every day by teaching the art and practicing the art and studying the art. And with me, I became a much calmer person, more balanced. And in my life, one of the biggest effects was just all the philosophy behind that jiu-jitsu carries that goes beyond the mat, and everyone takes to their own lives, like living happier and healthier lives, eating better, being more active. And it makes me very happy, inspired to see that effect on my students and by observing on everyone that embrace jiu-jitsu in their own lives.
And how is like growing up? You remember how many instructors did you have? Who were your instructors growing up in jiu-jitsu that you remember? I know we have so many, but which ones that?
No, I recall. I think on my initial stages, I remember a Halls Gracie. On our early day, was one of
kids class.
Yeah, the instructor. And then I remember in Teresópolis, our other cousins, Crawling Gracie. And then later on, when we were in Rio de Janeiro, Carlos Gracie Jr. And from time to time, Hickson Gracie from time to time. I think you had more time with him than myself.
And how is it for you as like, when did you feel in your life that, you know what, that's what I want to do, teach jiu-jitsu. I want to make my life around jiu-jitsu. Because even though we grew up and we all trained jiu-jitsu together, each one of us had our own time to open a school, to kind of go ahead and, that's what I like to do. I like to influence people in a very positive way. When did you realize that that's what you want to do?
That's a very good question. I think on my 20s, we compete our whole lives for many, many years. But after a while, I felt I was not feeling as fulfilled just competing for myself, being just a competitor. And then it was almost like a crisis for me. Man, okay, if I'm not happy doing this, where do I go from here? That's when I start to ask myself a lot of questions about this. And then I came up to the inspiration and realization of focusing more as a teacher, being a teacher. And that's when my life really changed. I felt like when my focus started to change from being a competitor for myself to teaching the art, to others, passing on the torch. That's when I felt like reborn again in the art. And I still feel up to this day, yeah.
And you have a specific style among us and something that you teach a lot of your students. Can you just go over a little bit about the yoga jitsu that you teach a lot of your students? I remember talking to Guru Danilo Santos. He mentions a lot about the classes you taught him, about get the yoga involved with jiu-jitsu. How was that specifically?
I always been teased by you and the other brothers for, as the Zen brother, because I like to meditate and do yoga and all that. They always thought that was kind of funny. But I love it. And on this sense, I did some yoga in Brazil, and I've been doing martial arts my whole life, and I realized with some of the yoga movements combined with some jiu-jitsu movements can become a great mix, as a practice, used for jiu-jitsu or something else, kind of to loosen up the body. It's a combination of movement with stretch, and the breathing and the flow and the transition from one position to the other. And so with Dan and some of the other students that I work with, I noticed that after a while, by their practice on some of those exercises, I felt improvements on their own jiu-jitsu training, even though I was not teaching them jiu-jitsu. But by doing those things, I said, hey, your jiu-jitsu is getting better. So I think it was a good compliment that I added to Mr. Inosanto's
Yeah, you make a good
routines.
combination
Yes.
there that
Yeah.
kind of mix both, and they end up doing both better, the yoga and the jiu-jitsu. Roger, let me throw some hot seat here. I know the answer, but I'm going to ask him. Roger, which one is your favorite brother?
Come on. Of course it's you.
Okay, I'll let that go. I know, I know that's not true, but that's okay. What is like that you remember on the competition times in your life? What was the biggest challenge for you personally to the competition? Because we know we all go through some nervous system, and especially in the beginning, we feel like, what was that for you?
No, it was interesting. On my competition experience throughout my life, I had moments that I enjoyed more than others. But I remember in Brazil, man, many years ago, I think when I was a purple belt, and the funniest thing, like me, Jean-Jacques, John, and myself, we are on the same weight class. But at those days, only two competitors from the same weight class could go to the division. Yes. So because I was a little bit heavier than them, I always had to compete on the above class.
Throw him to the heavy guys.
So literally guys like 20 pounds heavier than me, I had to face those guys. But that's okay. I didn't complain. But I had one particular tournament that really, really stands out. Like some like this particular character I had to face on my class one time. His nickname was He-Man. so you can imagine how big was the guy, and the guy he was killing the company, smashing people, throwing people off the mat and doing. And I don't know, on that day I was kind of inspired, and I had a great match with the guy.
How they call that character, the skeleton guy that goes against He-Man?
Oh yeah,
was that?
Skeletor.
That was him that day.
The Giant Slayer.
I know, but even my uncle Helio, he congratulated me afterwards, for my performance, and I really appreciate that.
Imagine that you walk outside the mat after the tournament, you have Helio Gracie, you have all the first generation jiu-jitsu there. Say, hey, good match. I mean, he's watching your fight.
Yeah.
How that goes to at a young age.
Yeah. What an impact. To be influenced like that. It's amazing.
Roger, is there any specific technique in jiu-jitsu that I can say it's kind of almost like your brand that you like to do? Because I remember when Roger came back from his student exchange trip, he was like a bull. He just want to wrestle. He double leg you, single leg you, pick you up and slam you on the floor. And we were like, man, what's wrong with this guy? He came back so aggressive. And it was a very good moment in our training because it was an addition to like a different game into what we're not used to. But is there any favorite things you like to do in jiu-jitsu? Play on top, play on the bottom, play guard, play pass. What is like your favorite situation you like to be in it? Or doesn't matter? Anyone?
No, I really enjoyed in training. I like create some techniques on like some attacks. You know, like I have a particular technique that I came up with. I call the armpit Americana.
I've seen that before.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
going to
yeah.
bring that up. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
really, really creative attack.
Yeah,
It's-
so
and
very-
it's kind of scary. I mean,
I know, but what happened? It's and that's another thing that real inspiration for me as a teacher is like on the middle of the train, you know, I'm working with my students. Suddenly, I do a technique that out of the blue, you know, and say, wait a minute, what did I do? How did I get there?
Yeah.
And then that's how a lot of the techniques came to life, and that was one of them. Like, but I love in jiu-jitsu in general. I love the flow, the transition from one position to the next, and I love the smooth transition. When you do the techniques, you get to a point where you find the perfect angle, the no effort, you know, on the.
well, that's what I liked about that technique, because when I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
you demonstrate it,
Yeah.
I was watching you, and everything dictated that you were going to go to your right, and then you just went to the left. And when you went to the left, I'm like, okay, why is he stopping there? And then I saw it, and I'm like, wow. But that's just
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
guys, the brothers. I mean, a lifetime
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
training. You just have that vision. You see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that move, Jean-Jacques?
I have no idea what you guys talking about.
It's
Gotta
The armpit,
Yeah.
the armpit something. That's what you just said.
I'm not gonna teach
Okay,
my brother.
okay.
No.
Okay.
secret
man.
safe with me
No,
too.
no.
I have a bunch, but I don't have a name for. I like the name. The
I know.
armpit what?
America.
Armpit Americana. I'm gonna come up with some names too.
No, I have no secrets, man. In everything I know, I be always glad to share. We're always glad to share with each other.
But
when
it's-
we get together, you know, and
But what's amazing is you all. I have not had the pleasure to train with all of you, but watching everybody teach, you all express the art a little bit different. It's like all uniquely yours. There's the core. You can see your foundation, but the way you all kind of come to the same. You all have different pathways to the same conclusion. It's pretty inspiring to watch.
And Roger, let's go back to a memory lane here.
yes,
You know, if a lot of people don't know our relationship with our cousins, the Gracie families, through our mother. How was that growing up with so many cousins, so many great jiu-jitsu people surround you? How was that for you? What did you feel back then? As an inspiration to you, and who of the cousins you like to train more, that you feel that you kind of gain a lot of information from? How was that for you?
I think was an inspiration in a sense because I always had my brothers, you know, to rely upon, you know, sometimes ask questions or troubleshoot some certain positions or techniques. But with our cousins, I think the ones that come to mind, man, that really, really inspired me, man. And I have, even though I was not with him for as long as we all would like to be with the Halls. Man, so many things. I can't believe, like, over 30 years ago, how the things that he would say, the things he would teach, really, really impactful. And I think he was a pioneer of his time in terms of opening everyone's mind to see that there is more in the world than just jiu-jitsu. You know, we have to open our mind to other styles and embrace some of those styles to learn and adapt some of the techniques to jiu-jitsu. He's the one who started that. And then I think after his time, jiu-jitsu went to another level because people started to explore more wrestling, judo, you know, and sambo, all these other styles. And so that brought the art to another level, I'd say. Yeah.
And what is like today as a big challenge for you when a student comes to your school? How as you see sometimes they're shy or they're not physically fit. how did you kind of break the wall, and how did you feel teaching? What is the process that you use? Because each student has a different need when they're walking into your school. How does that work for you? Like to get somebody from nothing and start building up something?
I think as from a teacher's perspective, I believe in personalized work, and I'd say even though I might have a group class in front of me, I try to take in consideration each student as an individual with different needs, different levels, different ways of understanding certain things. And I think when you see from that point of view, even though you're in a group class, your work can be much more personalized to each one of your students. Like at one point, I like in my group class, I had a student that didn't have one leg. It had like one leg. So what happened? I had to modify some of the techniques and the exercise and train, and he loved it, and he would do great. He would do things that I couldn't believe someone like him could do it. I said, wow, he taught me. And
yeah, that's amazing because not only are you inspiring him, but it has to resonate with the rest of the student body to lift them up. Like,
of course.
How can I complain about my struggles?
Yes. And you see another my personal philosophy in jiu-jitsu, I believe, and what I try to teach my students is not just to embrace the art for now, but for life, like jiu-jitsu for the long run, until your later years. And that's one of the few arts that I know that can be for an individual for as long as you want.
Yes.
Like I have right now, I have a student that's 70 years old. And he started training with me when he was like 55. Now he's 70, he's happy and healthy as he's ever been in his life. Yeah.
Amazing.
How was for you if you can point some kind of the difference between your jiu-jitsu in the early days in Brazil and how you see jiu-jitsu in today's time? If you can point maybe a difference, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I think in the past, jiu-jitsu was much more traditional, and I think because people are throughout the years, everyone is becoming more open-minded, about the art and the other styles, and like now they have the submission grappling, the no-gi tournaments, and so I would say it's jiu-jitsu is evolved to another level where you have all these other techniques that was forbidden in the past, like a lot of the foot locks, the knee locks, a lot of those techniques you couldn't even practice in the past, on the early days. But then with time, now they're to certain levels they're accepted to the instruction and practice.
Do you remember any story or any adventure on the past when we were kids? I don't know, back in Teresópolis or Rio, something that you can remember, highlight, like, yeah, that was dangerous, that was funny. Come on, Roger, you gotta bring something back there in those days.
That's what we call here a loaded question.
We have some adventures time there, Roger. Come on, but I wanted to hear on your own words.
Remind me what
I don't know, man. I have a
lot
lot of things happening in Teresópolis when we were teenagers. Things in Rio, that when we were with our cousins, situations that you've been. People don't realize. I remember when we leave our house that, let's see, we ask our dad, father had money, he can give us a car or something. He goes, no, take a bus. And when we take a bus from where we lived in the academy moved to Barra in Rio, we're talking about the distance from, I don't know, from the valley here to Long Beach. But it's no freeway. It's through the city. I mean, it's an easy 1 hour plus ride in the bus. But in Brazil, they allow you to stand in the bus. It's kind of 47 people sit down, 48 standing. I mean, it's a long, long road.
Yeah.
But the thing that, and Roger used to do more than anyone, we used to take a bus, leaving our house, and maybe 15, 20 minutes in the bus, we used to stop and go to a sports club. And that club, we swim. And he, until today, he still almost every day he swims that. But remember, he used to do that so much. You go, take the bus, and where you going? And he gets out, he goes for a swim. See you guys later. Then we keep going the bus, and he has to swim that for, I don't know, an hour and a half or something. But he always had that habit to swim before going to the school. And that was an incredible time, because then it's like, man, he's really serious about swimming. And a lot of people do not know he's actually vegetarian. My brother doesn't. How long you been vegetarian?
Man, like I beat like 37, 38 years.
And he never actually had a cavity on his mouth. I don't know if he has to do anything with, or I have a bunch of things. I have to see the dentist. And look, I never visit a dentist. I don't have anything going on. How is that for you, eating or not eating meat? Or how's that on your nutrition? Do you feel more energy, less energy, or you're used to? Is there any other source that you go for to supply the?
I have. With me, man. At the time, I think everyone's body is different. On my case, my whole life, I never really enjoyed eating meat. Like most of the time, to be honest, every time I would eat it, I would feel sick, and and then it come to a point that I would eat less and less. And then came to a day that I said, why are you going to eat something that every time I eat, I don't feel good? And that's why I stopped. And nowadays, I think since I changed, I felt so much better. And up to this day, man, I feel great, and I am, I eat grains, vegetables, and nuts, a whole bunch of other sources,
which is great. It's, I don't know, it's I mean, I rarely, maybe I eat meat twice a week sometimes, but it's not easy. I know it's not easy for us to. But
it's not for everyone, man. I think as I said, everybody has different needs.
Yeah, I think we're kind of genetically predisposed. Some people can go.
You also rarely eat meat, right, Jay?
Yeah, I used to eat it all the time, and then I cut it out straight for almost a year. But I started noticing, and I know I'm getting older too, but I started noticing like my injuries were taking a lot longer to heal. And it could have been what they call placebo effect, but I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, I think I need to start eating a little bit of meat. And I noticed that when I did, my body felt like it kind of pulled me back together. But the same thing, if I eat too much, I don't feel good either.
Yeah.
So I love fish.
Yeah, I know.
I love sushi.
Yeah.
Let me ask you too, Roger. Who is Roger Machado? Who is that person?
That's I'm still finding that out. I think it's a lifelong journey, to get to know this person. But every day I'm getting to know this guy a little better, and I'm realize that as more we get to know ourselves, happier we feel, but up to this point, I still find a lot of things. But the few things that I realize is that I'm a teacher, but at the same time, I'm a student of life, and I appreciate every day, and I'm very grateful for every second that we live, that we're here, and I'm still learning, man, about everything else. And
I know. See how life changed this guy. He used to be so mean, so now he turns to be very soft, very gentle. Yeah, man, jiu-jitsu works, people.
Now my question. because I'm fortunate enough. My brother and I never strayed too far apart. We started to just career-wise, and then life kind of pulled us back together. What was it like for you? Because who was the last one to leave Brazil? Was it you?
Me, yes.
What was it like losing your brothers, having your brothers come to the States? So after being so like fighting over the TV and being close and all the adventures?
Yeah. It was, to be honest, that's a good question, Jay. I think it was tough, man, because, we've been together our whole lives. And then one brother at the time came to America, Regan, then Carlos and John, Jean-Jacques. And then so many things happened, man. Like our dad, passed away in Brazil, and
that was me and you back then.
Jacques was there
at
the time.
And then, I think you're about to finish your university. Then Then Carlos and John here convinced me to move. Hey, you gotta come. Then here we are.
Yeah, but it's but my brothers was asking for me to come right after my brother Jean-Jacques, but it was almost, I still had maybe a year left of my university. I graduated on physical education, and I said, no, I don't want to go until I get my diploma. And then once I finished, then I came. And I'm very happy I came, man. I love it here. I feel at home.
It's really nice because, I remember when I joined this gym, it was our JeanJacquesMachado. It was the green and yellow logo, and it's all the five brothers. And over time, everyone started to kind of forge new paths. But I've never, all you guys, in some way, shape, or form, are still a part of this place. Because even when I speak to your brother, it's always part of our conversation at some point. How are your brothers? How's the family and this and that? So you guys never really separated.
No.
And I think it's wonderful that
we
guys
always,
are
no matter what, always going to be a
Look
family.
how funny that is. We used to do a brothers camp. And evidently we want to teach jiu-jitsu to a lot of people. But the main reason was for us to get together at least once a year. We be for a few days together to make sure we keep that bond tight. And here we are, it's funny because each brother we all love each other, always have our connection. But evidently, growing up, my parents put the two youngest in the same bedroom, which was me and John, then the second oldest, Regan and Roger. And Carlinhos was way above all of us in terms of how, in a young age, he became so mature. He's not so old, but very mature compared to the rest of us. But Roger and Regan developed such an incredible bond.
I've heard that.
They know each other in a way that's they like to draw a lot. They draw very well. Monsters, both. Whatever, I'll draw something. He goes and make the ugliest monster you can ever imagine. Both, they do the same thing. But here we are, we're on one of the camps. I'm not sure where it was, and we just finished eating something and lunch, and we all sit in the car, and Regan saw an ice cream place. And Regan goes there, and he comes back. It's man, he's grabbing two big ice creams on his hand. And we're in the car, in shock. Oh, two huge ones. As he get close to the car, he goes, Roger, it's for you. And then we go, man, what about us? He's I don't know what flavors you like, but I know his flavor he likes. And I go man, just to see, and it's incredible because they used to live together, and they hardly see each other.
Really? Just work?
They're completely different schedule. But they are not able to sleep unless he goes to the next door bedroom and see that the brother's there. It's both. And still today they have that kind of
that's the bond. That's the family bond.
But man, the ice cream we got Regan. What's going on, man? You got I don't know what you like it, but I know what he likes.
Does he know your flavor now?
And then he never give a chance to say anything. Just we're kind of, okay. Then the same thing. Roger knows all that Regan likes, and they know each other. That's so funny, that connection they have.
Yeah.
But that's why our parents, kind of by age and I guess mentality. Okay, you're smart enough and not so good. You gotta hang out to this one.
That's funny.
But that's how the house was all divided. But Roger, is there any any project, anything you have in mind that you want to do? What else you want to push jiu-jitsu for people to see jiu-jitsu in a different way? Is there anything out there that you have as a goal right now using jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Unless you want to keep a secret, then that's okay too.
Yeah. As I was saying before, man, I wanted to explore jiu-jitsu on a deeper level, on a sense of almost like going beyond the techniques, like really getting to the deeper aspects of the practice. How does that affect people, and how can it affect people in a positive way? Even the philosophical aspects too, and I think they're really interesting, like different ways to exercise and develop humbleness on your to mold and develop our students' character. So those kind of thoughts, as a teacher, okay, it's very beautiful words, but actually, how are you going to do that in a class? What kind of a practice? What kind of a will the student understand? Like like as the project you're asking. One thing I'm giving some thought is still an idea, but I was thinking about, and I think it's probably going to happen, guys, in the future. Writing a booklet, about our family philosophy from my perspective, as I see it, like from the Machado way, the philosophical aspects of the art, and teaching those concepts on an easy reading for the students. How do that apply on the mat and in life? That's one of the ideas that I have.
Yeah, that's the magic.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Jay, you see that it's funny because we are all 5 on the mat and we have our instructor showing a technique, and each one has a different eye or how observe that technique. And I think it's when we kind of spread our schools, we felt the need of spread out more in a way to reach out more people. And each one of us, we're all together in a way, but we always have our followers. A lot of people love the way he puts the jiu-jitsu. A lot of people like the way the other brothers do the same thing. But on the end, it comes out with the same purpose, to show jiu-jitsu, to create that impact in people's life. And man, I can't believe I'm making my brother Roger, who doesn't like to talk much. He's here sitting with us for quite some time, talking a lot, and I try not to interrupt him and let him put it out there.
I never talked so much in my life, man. I'm breaking a record here.
And which of the brothers that gave you more headache growing up, man? Come on.
Why is he looking at you?
No, I know it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you, Jack.
I know it wasn't me. I know. But which one?
And I'll be honest, man. I think, as brothers, we always joked and picked on other. But when I stop to think, man, I have so much more fond moments. That
I gotta tell that one.
They surpass these ones. Okay, go ahead.
Sure, there's a lot of great moments. We used to have altercation, disagreements, okay? But the connection that him and Higgin, if you go and ask Hart, how many times you have something for John? Thousands. Jean-Jacques, thousands. Higgin, 1. and one of the altercations, man, it was so funny because we are the young ones, and they look into Higgin and Roger face each other, hands up, and we're looking, and they just look at each other's face, and we're outside like, come on, nobody's gonna punch anybody. You guys gonna be looking at each other. We're talking about half an hour. It's just they're standing, looking at each other, no words, nothing, and we're almost throwing rocks on them. Come on, man, somebody do something. I'm hungry. I want to go home and eat, and you guys still standing. Just to show that, man, it was so amazing and they suddenly just walk away. Like
that was it.
Never happened.
That was it. That
never happened, man.
So This isn't a favorite question amongst your brothers, but who do you have like who do you feel that you've spent the most amount of time training with amongst the brothers? And it doesn't necessarily mean favored or least favored or this or that, but was it spread out with you guys? Did you all alternate, or did you find that you gravitated towards one or two brothers?
No, I think it was a similar amount of time with each other. But because like my brother Hagen, I would say is the one I had.
He was almost like the pioneer
Because
in our house.
we lived together for years of time as kids and even as adults later on here in America. A few years I was with my brother. So I think if the most time was him, but we always spent time with each other. I learned and continues learning from all my brothers.
Imagine that you were 5, a lot of energy kids. We used to live in a big apartment and far from the school, and we realized we have a lot of bodies that we can practice with. And we literally turned out one of the rooms that we sleep
Mats.
in mats. And I remember my father go like, "What are you guys doing destroying the house?" And literally we took every single wood furniture out of the room, and we have the mattress lying on top of the mat. And I remember we used to train. We just when we want to train, we put the mattress against the wall, this way we don't hit the wall, and we just go and train. Finish train, put the mattress back on, and literally we sleep, wake up, spend most of our time on the mat. But that was one of the beds in our house. That's why we did for quite some time. Because it was no videos to watch. We have to grab each other. It's like, the guy hold me this way. Do you see any other way for me to get out? And we try and work for hours. That was our
Every day was
fun.
a jiu-jitsu day.
How did your mom handle that?
Oh man,
My mom was okay, but I remember my dad walking into the room and he has shoes on. It was like, "Hey, no shoes on the mat." And he looked at us like, "This is my house. This is my rules. I don't care if you guys do jiu-jitsu or not. Whatever room I want, I walk." Okay, Dad, but no shoes on the mat. Don't forget. He got upset at it. But he learned. Next time he came, he was on his socks and playing around the fuzz, but that was fun.
Great bonding, though.
Yeah.
For you guys to grow up.
Yeah,
like that.
we kind of missed that, and I think life kind of changed a course that changed so much in a way of mixed distance. But I was still together, even though I used to complain with Roger because he used to call me once a year.
But that's changed. That's changed.
Once a year.
That's changed.
And he goes like, "Hey, brother, I'm calling you because I just want to wish you happy birthday." And I go, "Thank you. It's so good to hear from you. I see you next year. And yeah, I love you. I wish you all the best." It's okay. Yeah, that changed. Now we speak more often. But that was so funny. For quite some time, once a year I got a phone call. And we see each other here and there, but that phone
You
call.
could guarantee
I
on
was
that.
waiting. Oh, he's gonna call. But the brothers only call because my mother called each brother to remind you.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, Mom called you." Yeah, she reminded me because if it wasn't her, I would not be calling you. Man, here we are. I can't believe I have finally. You guys have no idea how challenging it was to bring him here.
Any chances
doesn't-
of a camp reunion, you guys?
Yeah,
I think
would love
I'm
to
gonna
in the
push for
future.
that because it's very fun for us.
So many
It's-
people love that, man. The
It's so
experience.
funny because with respect and no respect, we bully each other. But we know it's all with love.
I've been training here for a very long time. I've never had that opportunity. I would
Yeah.
jump all over that.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys be aware. We're gonna do another Machado Brothers camp. Let's see when everybody's settled. And I think some places, right now we can actually do that. But I think I miss that definitely.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Roger Machado, I can't believe it. We're sitting down here for an hour talking to you and made that possible. But you did not answer me. Which one is your favorite brother?
And when we do the camp, I'll make sure I have all your ice cream flavors ready.
You guys already got which one, right? Oh, Roger, thank you for being here, brother. It's always good to see, and I know when we get together, always bringing incredible memories. And I know in each one of us do have impact in how we shape ourselves in our house. I know I have a little bit of Roger and me, a little bit of John, a little bit of Hagan, a little bit of Carlos. I think each other kind of support and balance us in each way they could. And I think each one of us develop our own personality, having the influence of each brother. And I definitely have a little bit of you and me. And I would say the best of you, not the worst. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here, guys.
Here we go, guys. Another amazing time here with my brother. Another No Gi Required podcast. Stay tuned. A lot more fun to come.